This is Tim Murray with eXp Denver. This is Josh Piger. He's one of my lenders my favorite lenders that I use. And we're talking about how to unlock your equity.
Yeah.
So, you've seen on my YouTube channel, you've seen some of my posts on Instagram and Facebook. I really think that equity is where it's at when we look at real estate as an investment tool, as a wealth building tool. And I'm coming across a ton of people in my sphere, in my group, that have owned their homes since before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And because of that, because everything went haywire in the pandemic, we saw prices go through the roof. We saw, everybody's equity position went through the roof. And so now they're sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars, but how do you get to it? How can you use it? Because the big common fear right now is that if you refinance, you're going to get screwed with this higher rate. So Josh, what can you tell us about HELOC loans? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah. So a HELOC loan, the basis of it is it's pretty much a credit card against the equity on your house is the way to think about it. So when you get approved for a HELOC, for example, you get approved for, let's say, $100,000 HELOC. Once you get approved for a HELOC, that $100,000 is set up, just like I said, a credit card where you don't have to use all the funds, but that's how many funds you have available. Obviously, your monthly payment will adjust based on how much of that you're using. As you can see, as in this example I have on the screen, we have an example of just an $80,000 HELOC and what the monthly payment associated with that would be. So generally speaking, in a situation like this where you have a property with some equity, you can use a HELOC to take out some of that equity to put towards the down payment on a new property.
Perfect. I love it. So that's what we're talking about. And then explain to us, Josh, when I'm looking at these rates where I'm like, holy crap, the interest rate on my HELOC at $80,000 is 9%. That seems kind of crazy. And then my new purchase is 8.25. So talk us through, a year from now, rates go down. Can we
Yeah,
refi? Can we
yeah,
refi it
you
all
can
out?
refi. So obviously there's a 6 month waiting period
Okay.
before you can refinance, but after that you're free to refinance. So for example, this new purchase, say this is the house you're purchasing as an investment property with your HELOC funds. So if you purchased a $400,000 house, obviously with that HELOC as down payment, right now, you were talking about rates are high, 8.25%. So your monthly principal and interest is a little over 2,400. Now, if we were to just drop this rate, so let's say make it a new rate of 6.5, let's say rates drop a little bit, next spring, next summer, we get back down into some more affordable rates. What you're going to see is your payment drop to around 2,000. And so when you refinance, you're going to cut $400 off of your principal and interest with the new property.
Got it. And then can we also roll the 80K at 9% into that 6.5 or no?
We most certainly could. Basically, the way we'd look at it is it would have to depend on what your loan to value is when you refinanced, obviously, and the value of the property. So because that, you're going to be at 80% loan to value, when you're purchasing the property. So maybe you're able to make a few extra payments over the next course of the year and then get to a point where you can refinance it all together as one. That will honestly also depend on where interest rates are. So maybe home equity rates have dropped significantly, or the purchase rates have dropped significantly where it makes sense to try and roll that in. It's kind of a situation we'd have to look into, but the general idea in situations like this is that interest rates are going to drop. They're not going to stay this high forever. So as long as you're comfortable with where things are at now, you're going to be in an even better position in a year or two when you do refinance.
Fantastic. And let's play all things equal, where we're looking at a purchase price of 400K. We're putting 80K down 20% because it's an investment property. We've got the HELOC and we've got the loan. And we know that property's in Denver. A matter of fact, we just so you guys know, um, we are using a real property. We're using Here's our subject property, 825 Gray Street, Lakewood, Colorado, 400K purchase price. It's available right now. Hey, investors, are you hearing this? This is a hot property, I think. It's fixed up. It's completely renovated. It's in an okay neighborhood. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. This property rents for $2,800 a month all day long. So what we know about Denver real estate is that in a 30-year average, it appreciates at 6.54% per year. So what's that mean? Let's do the math. 400K times 0.065. That's 26,000. So in a year from now, this house is going to be worth 426. If I refi in a year, Josh, is that going to make a difference? As a lender, to validate, hey man, I could refi and my new payment, would I get rid of my HELOC at 9%, or would I be able to roll it in or not? Or what does that look like? What are the ratios I need to come to?
Say your new purchase refinance is at 6.5%. So let's say that's where the investment property rates are at in, we'll say, 18 months.
Okay.
You'll have about 20,000 paid off of the new purchase and probably around 8,000 paid off of this. So you'll be at 72,000 and 300,000. So 372,000. So if we go in here and change your loan amount to 372,000 at that rate, you'll see a monthly loan payment of 2,351. Oops, 51. My apologies. And then we're going to keep that $400 escrow. And so what we're doing here is we're combining the home equity line of credit and the new purchase.
Yep.
And you end up at 2,751 for both of those. So in that scenario, you would actually be paying less per month for the home than you would be getting in rent.
Yeah, so you'd be cash positive about $49 a month.
And that's not even taking into account obviously the equity amount that you're putting in every month. So you have to take that into consideration as well.
And this is on an 18-month horizon.
Yes.
Perfect. So within 18 months, you're cash positive.
Yep.
And if for some reason that from that point on, if rates go below 6.5, you can refi whenever the hell you want and get it even lower, right?
Exactly.
Perfect. Does this look like a good investment to you?
Yes, this is a great investment. Even before you're technically cash positive, you're still going to be right around the break-even point where the equity going into the new property every month is going to be about equal to the extra monthly payment that you're paying between rent and the new HELOC and new mortgage.
Right. And so you guys, so you're following what Josh is saying right now. When we did the math on a $400,000 purchase at a 6.5% annual appreciation, that's $26,000. That's more than $2,000 a month, you guys, that you're making in equity. So even if in the first 18 months at these high interest rates, your monthly outlay is a couple $100, that turns around when you refi. And at the end of the day, you're still collecting $1,500, $1,600, $1,800 a month in an equity position. Pretty good deal.
Yeah, and I'd say, adding on to that, even if you are an individual in a situation where, you're not going to be necessarily cash positive for a little while, you can still put yourself in a situation where maybe you're paying a couple $100 more a month, but you also purchased a second property and are building equity in that property. And, maybe in 2 or 3 years you refinance and you get cash positive, but, a situation where you're paying a couple $100 extra a month to own a second property also puts you in a very advantageous spot.
Fantastic. Thank you, Josh. I'm going to ask you one more question just to throw a big curveball at everybody. So this whole scenario that we've been going through, you guys, is you keep your primary property, you take a home equity loan of credit, a HELOC, against your equity in your primary property, and then you go buy an investment property, turn it into a rental. What happens if we use this same concept to go buy a new home, and we convert our primary residence into a rental. That means
Yep.
that what happens? It's not an investment property, it's our primary property. What do interest
Yep.
rates do? What happens to the
So
interest rate, Josh?
what you're going to see is probably in this mid 6% to high 6% interest rates today. We do foresee in the next few months rates dropping a little bit, but what that means, the situation you're talking about basically is you are already going to be cash positive on a house when you close on it. So you'll be saving money immediately if you purchase a primary because of the rate difference.
Right. And as always, like I like to emphasize with every lender I talk to, sellers are still making concessions to buyers, you guys.
Yep.
So when you see a 6.5 rate or an 8.25 rate or a 9% rate, you can ask the seller to contribute to buying your rate down, either permanently or there's 2-1 buy downs. You can get the seller to pay your closing costs. They can contribute. It's a fantastic time to be a buyer, you guys. It really, really is. DM me, call me, reach out to me. Again, thank you so much, Josh Piger with Canvas Credit Union. I'll link all of his information on this post as well. Hey, Josh, thanks, man.
You're very welcome.
Cool. We'll do it again soon, brother.
Yeah, sounds great.